The public have rightly been outraged that a double rapist changed their gender after being charged by the police. This week, the Justice Secretary, Keith Brown, was asked if that rapist should now be considered a woman. This is what Keith Brown said. "I think that is the case. We have to accept people identify, as in this case, as women." Does the First Minister agree with her Justice Secretary?
First Minister.
I think that rapist should be considered a rapist. That is what I think. That individual has been convicted of rapes and that therefore is the terminology. I'm not going to get into the individual circumstances of that particular individual's claims to be a woman, because I don't have enough information about that. But the individual has been convicted of serious sex offences, and that is the relevant consideration in terms of which prison they should be accommodated in. Can I say briefly, Presiding Officer, in addition to this, these issues have obviously had great public and media attention in recent days, but these issues are not new, nor have the arrangements within the prison service for dealing with transgender prisoners changed in any way. As the chair of the Scottish Prison Officers Association said this week, the Scottish Prison Service has been making risk-based decisions about the accommodation of trans prisoners for many years, and indeed they have been doing that effectively and safely. The risk assessment processes in the cases that have been reported in recent days were underway. It is not the case that any decision had been taken to allow either of those to serve their sentences in women's prisons. However, given the nature of the coverage and the potential for that to cause concern, I think the reality for that to cause concern amongst women prisoners and the general population, and indeed to cause distress in the trans community, the overwhelming majority of whom, like the overwhelming majority of the general population, never commit any offences, led us to clarify the matter and put it beyond doubt. And the position now, of course, pending the review that was already underway, is that no transgender prisoner with a history of violence, including sexual violence against women, will be housed in or transferred to a women's prison. I think that is what is important, and I think it is that clarity that matters to the public.
Douglas Ross.
When a man rapes two women, we don't think that he should be considered a woman just because he says so. We should call out criminals like this who are abusing the system. They are not trans people. They are dangerous and violent men. Adam Graham, who once to be known as Isla Bryson, raped two women. He is an abusive man seeking to exploit loopholes in the government's current policy. Nicola Sturgeon's answer to me was she wants to call a rapist. But can she just give me a clear answer to my question, not what she wants to answer, but what I want to ask her? Is this double rapist a woman?
First Minister.
This individual claims to be a woman. What I said is that I don't have information about whether those claims have validity or not. But I don't think Douglas Ross and I are disagreeing here, because what I think is relevant in this case is not whether the individual is a man or claims to be a woman or is trans. What is relevant is that the individual is a rapist. That is how the individual should be described, and it is that that should be the main consideration in deciding how the individual is dealt with. That is why, of course, the individual is in a male prison, not in the female prison. So these are the issues that matter. Douglas Ross also talks about current policy. I accept he hasn't done this today, but I have read many things in recent days that have tried to conflate the situation in prisons with the legislation passed overwhelmingly by this Parliament before Christmas. Of course, the two are not connected, and they wouldn't be connected even if that legislation was in force, which it is not. The current policy, which is, in my understanding, broadly similar to the approaches taken in other jurisdictions, has been in place in the Scottish Prison Service since 2014. And as the chair of the Prison Officers Association said himself this week, the Prison Service has been taking risk-based decisions about transgender prisoners for many years, and they have been doing that safely and effectively.